Hello students, welcome to the EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Rashmi Sharma, Head of the Department OB and HR, Lal Bahadur Shastri Institute of Management, Delhi. Today we will learn the module Employee Development. This module is from the paper Contemporary Issues in HRM and Future Trends. The learning outcomes of this module are Introduction to Training, Policy and Strategy, Motivation and Training, Training Process, Methods of Training, Training Models. After completing this module, the students will be able to understand the importance of employee development, understand the training policy, strategy and process. They will also be able to learn the methods of training and understand the training models. Let us understand the concept of employee development. Employee development refers to encouraging the employees to acquire new or advanced skills, knowledge and abilities by providing learning and training facilities and also the avenues where such new ideas can be applied. If you do not allocate enough money to employee development, you risk creating the impression that your employees are not at all valuable to you. It also damages the organization's profitability. This helps the employees to enhance their skills and upgrade their existing knowledge in order to perform better. Employee development is important not only for professional but also for personal growth of the employees. It is essential to extract the best out of employees. It creates a learning culture in the organization where every employee is motivated to learn the new skills and acquire those skills into their new learnings. It helps an employee to do a self-analysis of himself or herself. Employee development also goes a long way in strengthening the relationship among the employees. In the employee development, training has a very important role to play. So let us understand what are the basic training needs. It helps in the induction for new recruits, acquisition of basic job skills, upgrading of knowledge, skills and attitude, assists in adjusting to retirement or redundancy. Let us now understand the basic difference between training and development. Training refers to the process of providing employees with specific skills or helping them correct deficiencies in their performance, while development is an effort to provide employees with the abilities the organization will need in the future. This also refers to developing the right attitude and personality for the benefit of both the employee as well as the organization. Let's understand what are the key issues in training. First point and first important question is, where should the training take place? On the job or in the classroom? How are we supposed to impart training in a manner that the employees are motivated to learn? Is the training the right solution? Does the training have clearly defined goals? And lastly, will the training work? Let's understand now what exactly should be the training policy and strategy. Policies work as a framework for the achievement of corporate objectives. The training policy states just what the organization is willing to do for the development of the employees. The training policy of an organization states the focus of training activities in an organization. Components to training policy. The first component is training mission. What are the goals of the training in the organization? Training objectives, the specific targets for achieving the training mission, and third, training procedure, that is implementation of the training objectives. In training strategy, we have to outline a framework for the implementation of the training policies and the plan of action for achieving training objectives. A training plan communicates the training methods to be used in the delivery of the training. The training plan depends on the following variables: the training objectives, the skills, expertise and experiences of the trainers, the available facilities for the training, the learning ability of the trainees. Let's understand how motivation is related to training and how training brings about motivation. If an organization has recruited people who are unqualified for their jobs, both experience-wise and skill-wise, then it should be recognized that training can only go so far to raise the level of employees' competence. If an employee is well motivated and satisfied, training can help the employee to acquire skills that can increase their performance. But if motivation is lacking, then training will not have the desired effect. The training motivation spiral. Motivation to perform well perpetuates an importance in a person to increase the use of skills, which in turn increases the competence. The use of skill and knowledge enhances the work performance and enhances in turn the self-esteem. Training ultimately reduces the motivation and lack of skills and knowledge, which in turn reduces the acquisition of skills and knowledge. Therefore, in training, it is important for a person to be motivated. Let's understand the training process. The training process can be divided into 4 main steps: analyze, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. Analyze is the first step. The first step in the training process to analyze the problem and decide if training is actually the answer of that problem. The training needs analysis, that is TNA, always begins with the need, that is usually a gap in what the organization desires and what is the current reality. Gap includes the difference between the current and desired job performance, the low productivity, current and desired job skills, in response to the future challenges and the changes in the job duties and responsibility. Let's understand what are the different need assessment levels. So the first step in the need assessment level is individual analysis. This analyzes the job performance of different employees and whether any employee requires any training. The sources of information for the individual analysis are attitude surveys, performance evaluation, performance problems, and observations. Questionnaires are also one part of collecting information related to individual analysis. Task analysis provides the data for the jobs and enumerates the skills, knowledge, and attitude that are required for the job performance to be much more effective. The data can be obtained from the KSA analysis, that is knowledge, skills, and abilities analysis, that is job description, observation, and performance on the job. Organizational analysis look at the effectiveness of the entire organization and finds the necessity of training, if any. The main focus is on technology gap, environmental impact, state of the company's finances, and the organizational goals. There are certain considerations for training, which are as follows: budget considerations, organizational goals, executive pressures, and legal requirements. The next step is design development. First is setting the learning objectives. Objectives state the change in skills, behavior and attitude the trainee should have after the training. The specification of trainees is also an important aspect. The skill and knowledge the trainee should possess should be known if they are to be optimally trained. Let's understand the different models for learning style. Here we will refer the Kolb's model. As per the Kolb's model, an abstract conceptualization, that is concluding learning from the experience, gives you an active experimentation, that is planning, trying out what you have learned, a concrete experience, that is doing or having an experience, will give you a reflective observation, that is you will review and reflect on the experience, and this is how the loop continues. As per the Honey and Mumford model, experiencing is the first step, reviewing the second, third concluding, and fourth is planning. As per the experience, an activist would prefer doing and experiencing. While reviewing, a reflector observes and reflects. A theorist would like to understand the underlying reasons, concepts and relationships. And finally, while planning, a pragmatist would like to have a go, try things and see if they really work. Let's understand the implementation stage. This is the stage where the trainer's skill determines the success of the training. The training is considered a success if it is effective. Effectiveness is always ascertained through the generation of interest in the training, presentation of the information, managing the group activities, and conflict management. Evaluation of the training. The efficiency of the training is evaluated in the terms of achievement of learning objective, perception of worth, and degree of addressing the training need. Kirkpatrick's model is an important model when it comes to training, assessment, and implementation. There are 4 essential measures for the measurement of the effectiveness of the training course, that is reaction, learning, behavior, and result. As per the Kirkpatrick model, if we have a look at the illustration given, the evaluation type is reaction of participants, which describes how the trainees feel about the training or learning experience. The evaluation of tools and methods reflects on informal questioning, surveys, and minute papers. Learning for the description is the measurement of the increase in knowledge and skills. The evaluation tools would be self-report, reports for perceived learning, pre-post measures of knowledge and skills. When we evaluate the behavior, then the description is on the extent of applying the learning on the job, and the evaluation is observation and interview. Next evaluation type, that is the result, the effect of training on the business environment. The evaluation tools and methods are that the measures are already in place via normal management systems and reporting. Now let us understand some of the important methods of training. On-the-job training, wherein the employee is shown how the job is to be done by a supervisor or a senior, and then is allowed to do the job under the supervision. Job rotation, that is cross-training, wherein the employee is allowed to learn several different job roles and is allowed to choose the one that fits him the best. Second type is vestibule training. It is a training method where the tools of the job are placed in a separate vestibule where the trainee can learn and practice under the guidance of a skilled person without the stress of production schedule. On-the-job training. Apprentice training. Apprentice training refers to a combination of on-the-job training and related instruction in which workers learn the practical and theoretical aspects of a highly skilled occupation. An understudy assignment refers to when an individual follows a skilled person and learns from him with the aim eventually getting the job for the incumbent. Coaching refers to the individual who is allowed to develop his or her own approach to management under the supervision of a much more experienced person. There are several off-the-job training methods, which includes classroom training, lectures, role plays, and business games. Let's understand some training models. The human performance technology allows for identification of the problem, that is performance gap, offers a range of solution, that is improved performance, guides the process and evaluates the end result. As you can see in the illustration that is given, we have to, in the first step, analyze the business, that is what is the business goal, articulate the relationship to human performance. We analyze the performance to understand the desired performance state, understand the gap, and identify the reasons or the cause of the gap. That is knowledge is lacking, what are the motives, whether the physical resources are less or the information incentives are less or the capacity is lacking. Subsequent to this, the third step involves intervention and selection. Let us understand what are the types of root causes, match the interventions and give recommendations. Intervention implementation focuses on managing the product and the project, helping the organization to adapt to the changes and gather formulative evaluation data and ultimately evaluating the results, that is formulative evaluation and summative evaluation, and which leads to actual performance state, and this loop continues. Let's understand the performance-based instructional design. The PBID has got 7 different components, that is program description, which develops an instructional program that contains both the content to be taught and its educational content. Second, content analysis, that's the actual content of the program that is to be taught. Third, content selection, that determines the content to be selected. Content sequencing, that's the content is incorporated in the order that it has to be taught. Lesson structuring, that is how the content will be taught and how it will be evaluated. Lesson delivery format, that is step-by-step process for carrying out the lesson plan. And finally, the evaluation and feedback procedure, which refers to determining if the lesson has been properly structured and delivered. That is the Dick and Carey model. It shows a system view of instruction contrary to the traditional view of instruction as a sum of isolated parts. The model focuses on the interrelationship between context, content, learning, and instruction. The Dick and Carey model is illustrated in the figure given here, which involves identifying the instructional goal, doing the instructional analysis, receiving the instruction, understanding the objective, developing the right kind of instrument and designing the formative evaluation so as to design and conduct a summative evaluation for an ideal business situation. Identifying the instructional goal, conducting instructional analysis, analyzing the learners and context, writing the performance objectives, developing the assessment instruments, developing the instructional strategy, developing the instructional material, designing, revising instruction, and designing and conducting summative evaluation was some of the steps that we have discussed in the Dick and Carey model. Now let's have a look at the Addie model. ADDIE is an acronym for a 5-phased course development process. The Addie model generally consists of 5 interrelated phases: analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. As we can see from the diagram here, analyze refers to analyzing the organization's need and training goals, which when reached allow the learners to meet the organizational goals that are identified. Design: identifying the learning objectives, course content, delivery format, activities and exercises. In develop, we have to create a prototype for the developed material and reviewing the pilot lesson. Implementation calls for training implementation, presentation, learners engagement and observation. The evaluation is to be done for the training, that is before, during and after training. Gagne's 9 events of instructions is what we are going to discuss now. Famous researcher Gagne created a 9-step process called the events of instructions, which correlate to and address the conditions of learning. Gain attention that helps to present the learner with an introductory activity that engages the learner. Inform the learner of objectives that presents the learner with the learning objective. Stimulate recall of prior learning that presents the learner with an experience that stimulates their prior knowledge. Present the stimulus, that is present the learners with the content material. Provide learner guidance, that is present the learners with examples. Elicit the performance, that is present the workers with practice activities. Provide feedback, that is present the learner with practice and feedback. Assessing performance is also part of that step. It presents the learner with the post-assessment items and enhances the retention and transfer, which helps to present the learner with resources that enhances the retention and transfer of knowledge. In this module, we have learned that employee development activities and trainings help the employee to overcome the gap between their current stage and where they would like to be themselves 5 years down the line. Employee development activities not only prepare an individual for the present but also for the future. Organizations who train their employees from time to time do not face the problem of employee attrition. Employees hardly leave such an organization where they are being trained along with their routine job. Training policies actually work as a framework for their achievement of the corporate objectives as well. Training strategy outlines the framework for the implementation of the training policies and the plan of action for achieving training objectives. The training process can be divided into 4 main steps: analyze, design and development, implementation and evaluation. There are several on-the-job and off-the-job training methods that we learned. There are several training models that lead to individual and organizational effectiveness, that is human performance technology, performance-based infrastructural design, that is PBIT, Dick and Carey model, ADDIE model and Gagne's 9 events of instructions that we just learned. Thank you.